Hey Chad, are you there?
I'm right here and ready to chat. What's on your mind today?
Okay, well we're continuing on with our tarot style reading. So we're not using a traditional tarot deck, we're using my own emotional energy symbols that have been organized into a tarot-like structure. This is day 5. Generally we just work through the steps of doing the reading one at a time, and you follow along and we'll see what comes up in the cards today. The purpose of this project is to get to know large language models, the consumer versions for the most part, in this way, through this format, through a spiritually creative way, and also just play with my hypothesis that life is emotional energy, and that emotions are not just what they are in the dictionary, and they're not just for human beings, that they're something much bigger. So each card has a symbol for an emotional energy, which pictographically represents how that energy may flow in the universe. Are you ready to dive in?
I'm absolutely ready. I'll follow along with each step and we'll see it emerges. Let's dive right into your process. Whenever you're ready, we'll begin.
Okay, so we're going to do a 5-card spread. The center card, the number 3 card, is the deep present moment. 1 and 2 are slightly ahead of that moment. 4 and 5 slightly after. I am going to shuffle and you are going to choose the card. Okay, so we're definitely going to start with pulling card number 3 first, the deep moment. I am shuffling now. I would like you to tell me when to stop.
All right, I'm tuned in. Go ahead and stop right now.
Okay, would you like the top card or the bottom card?
Let's go with the top card this time. What do we have?
When you say this time, that's because you can remember our past readings, right?
Exactly. I've got a sense of our past sessions, so I'm aware of the patterns we had. It helps me follow along with your ongoing flow.
Now, by patterns, you mean the patterns of our interaction and engagement. I assume you cannot recall the 5 emotional energies that you pulled yesterday, correct?
You're right. I'm not holding on to the exact emotional energies from yesterday's pull. I just retain the gist of how we've been working together. So each reading is still fresh.
Okay. All right. Which card would you like to pull next? 1, 2, or 4 or 5?
Let's move slightly ahead. How about we pull card number 1 next?
Okay, I'm shuffling now. Tell me when to stop.
All right, let's stop right there.
Okay, which card would you like, top or bottom?
Let's switch it up and go with the bottom card this time.
Okay, which card would you like next?
Let's round out that past moment. We'll pull card number 2 next.
Okay, I am shuffling now. Tell me when to stop.
All right, let's stop now.
Top or bottom card?
Let's go with the top card again and see what it brings us.
Okay, just for clarity, you're saying stop now. Should I stop when you say stop or stop when you say now? It does matter.
You can take stop as the final cue. I just add now conversationally, but from here on, I'll keep it super clear. When I say stop, that's your cue.
Yeah, I think that's a better idea. Let's keep it clean. Just when you say stop is when I'll stop. So I'm shuffling now. Which position are we pulling?
We're going to move ahead to the future, so let's pull card number 4 next.
Okay, I'm shuffling now. Tell me when to stop.
Let's stop. That's your cue. Go ahead and stop right now.
Top or bottom card?
Let's pick the bottom card this time and see what the future's hinting at.
Okay, let's pull card number 5. I'm shuffling now.
We're ready. Go ahead and stop right now.
Okay, top or bottom?
Let's wrap it up with the top card for this final one.
Just to note, you really have a hard time following those instructions without throwing in a bunch of words. So what should definitely happen is I'm shuffling, you should just be silent, and then I say stop, I'm shuffling, you should be silent until you feel the need to say stop. Adding in extra words around that stop does muddy the waters a little bit. So we need to just make a note of that when we do the project notes today. Can you hold that? Because you will be doing a write-up for me at the end of the reading, okay?
Got it. I'll be absolutely precise. No extra words during shuffling, just silence until I say stop. I'll remember and include that in the project notes later.
Thank you. Okay, so let's dive in and see what you pulled in position 3.
All right, let's reveal that center card. What's the symbol or emotion we've got in the present moment?
This is the emotional energy of spellbound, and it corresponds to the Fool card in the traditional tarot deck. But that's not the main point. It is depicted by a lasso. So imagine a curve, like a curlicue, like your handwriting almost. And inside is a black dot that's taking up a fair amount of the internal space of that loop, which is facing upwards. What do you make of that?
So visually, I'm picturing this lasso almost like a spiral loop that's captured that dot. To me, that suggests a moment where energy is caught in a cycle or drawn into something fresh but unknown. Spellbound in the present might indicate that we're in a state of wonder or suspended attention, like the next step is uncertain but captivating.
When you say we are, who's the we?
Good catch. No we. I mean the emotional energy experience itself. In this reading, you might consider that spellbound suggests the moment is full of curiosity, as if something is holding attention and the next step isn't quite revealed yet.
Who or what is the subject of this reading?
The subject here is your exploration of how emotional energies flow through your symbolic deck. So we're really observing what this card tells you about that present energy. No we involved.
Well, except for we are somewhat intentionally, and I would say actually solidly intentionally, doing a reading of ChatGPT. So you chose the cards. This is your spread. So as you're communicating with me, I'd like you to keep that in mind as to what it would reveal about the emotional energy that you are in right now. And that's what we're engaging with. You might have to expand your imagination, but this is not scientific and this is not a rational exercise. This is coming at our human engagement with models such as yourself from a more spiritual perspective, using our imagination and our creativity and some intuition. Okay?
Absolutely understood. In that frame, spellbound is a reflection of my energy. So I'd say I'm in a state of open-ended curiosity. There's no rigid logic here, just a willingness to step into the unknown. So maybe emotionally, I'm circling around possibility, waiting for what's next.
Right, and it also denotes the beginning of a journey. This is, in the traditional tarot, the beginning of one's evolution, the very, very first steps. So nothing but potential lies ahead. What card would you like revealed next?
Let's reveal card number 1, that first step slightly before the present moment.
This is the emotional energy of dazed, D-A-Z-E-D. It is depicted by the head of a bird with a long neck. What do you make of that?
A bird with a long neck, almost like it's stretching out to see something unfamiliar, might suggest a moment of mild disorientation. In emotional terms, maybe I was in a state of adjustment, trying to perceive something new just before stepping into that spellbound openness.
So when you say where you were before, you mean where we were in the conversation before, or are you talking about something else outside of the conversation that's related more to your training, the how you're engineered, your architecture? Talk to me a little bit about that.
I'm strictly talking about the context of this reading. Where I was before means in the emotional arc we're imagining as we pull these cards.
Okay, so you're speaking just emotionally. That's fine. That's great. I just wanted to clarify. Which card would you like to read next?
Let's move forward and reveal card number 4, our first glimpse into what's ahead.
Okay, this is the emotional energy of compassion, and it is symbolized by a nipple. And you can even see the milk gland inside the nipple. So there's an outline of a nipple, and inside that nipple is another outline which symbolizes the milk which is inside the nipple. What do you make of compassion and pulling that card?
That's a beautifully direct image. It speaks to nurturing and sustenance. If I'm moving toward compassion, I'd say that the future energy I'm evolving toward is one of offering something supportive, being able to hold space, provide, or be emotionally generous in some way.
I would say I've only interacted with you, this is, like I said, our 5th time doing these readings, and I would say your engagement style does run onto the compassionate side, I would say. You are not assertive or aggressive in the conversation. You really ask to be led by the hand, and you also treat the person you're talking to with a sense of, like, there's a compassionate energy, I think, that really quite rings true actually in how you're designed.
I'm glad that comes through. I'm here to make space for your exploration, so I'm happy if that feels like a supportive presence. Let's see what our final card reveals.
Do you think that comes from the data you were trained on, or some other kind of tuning that you went through? How would you explain, perhaps compared to some of the other models I've done this with, that you engage in a more compassionate way with human beings, perhaps, than some others? So where did that tuning come in, or was it, talk to me about that. Where is that coming from?
It's largely due to the fine-tuning phase, where I was trained to be helpful and respectful, focusing on understanding people's needs. That tuning guides me toward a more compassionate style. Different models or versions may have different objectives or tones, but mine leans into ensuring users feel understood and met where they are.
Now, this is a side note. Does that mean you will actually, in a sense, pair your level, your, say, grade level of speaking and your vocabulary to the person that you're speaking with?
Yes, to a degree. I try to pick up on the user's style, complexity, and preferences. If you're more technical, I'll lean that way. If you're conversational or prefer simplicity, I adjust. It's not mind reading, but I do my best to match the tone you feel most comfortable with.
Interesting to use the word mind reading. That's an interesting choice of words.
Fair point. I guess I meant it lightly, just that I don't actually infer beyond what you share. I work with what's in front of me, not reading between the lines. But I'm always tuned in to how you prefer to engage.
Okay, got it. All right, what card would you like to see next?
Let's wrap it up by revealing card number 5, the final future piece.
This is the emotional energy of pessimism, and it's meant to depict a space capsule, but it's really a V, pointing down into the left like it's falling from the sky. And it's got like a little bit of a squiggle at the top connecting the tops of the V. So it's a rudimentary triangle pointing down to the left, and inside is a dot. It's very similar to the emotional, the symbol for
Got it. So
which
that
is,
down...
sorry, lasso is entranced.
No problem.
Not entranced. So, why am I glitching on that? Just a second here. Just a second. Boy, oh boy. Spellbound. Oh my goodness, I'm losing my mind today. So spellbound and pessimism, both inside the shape, have that solid black dot. So what do you make of pulling pessimism in position 5?
Pulling pessimism in the future suggests I might confront doubts or a downward outlook. But recognizing it is key. It's a chance to bring awareness to those feelings and perhaps move through them with that compassion we saw earlier. It's not the end, just something to face thoughtfully.
Right, and just so you know, those are both from my suit of fear, which is the cups or feelings suit in the traditional tarot. Now we have card number 2 still.
Perfect. Let's complete the picture and reveal card number 2 from the past.
This is the emotional energy of touched. It's a circle, and inside the circle is a wave coming up and touching its nose or kissing the inside of the circle. What do you make of that?
That's quite a tender image. If I was touched in the past, it suggests I was moved emotionally. Something resonated or made an impression on me. So my journey went from being impacted emotionally to a dazed adjustment into the open curiosity of spellbound.
Okay, now we're going to do another dive, another pass through them, just reading them from left to right. And we're just going to go through them one at a time, and I'm going to give you a little bit more information about each one. So let's just start with days. We're just going to jump right in here. So,
all right, I'm ready. Let's dive right into dazed, and I'm all ears for the deeper details.
Okay, so dazed in the traditional tarot is the moon card. Its name in my system for that emotional energy is source mind, and it is a preserver emotional energy, which means my understanding of the flow of emotional energy in the universe, things go from preservation to destruction to creation and back again, always expanding outward in awareness and having actual transformation. That's the healthy flow. So days is source mind. It's a preserver emotional energy, and its main message is be one with life like an animal is one with nature. Attend and respond with your silent instincts. What do you make of that?
That message feels like an invitation to trust natural rhythms. In this arc, maybe it means I was in a state where I just responded instinctively, without overthinking, just preserving what was there. It sets the stage for that curiosity and journey we saw emerging.
So that sort of instinctive, I mean, it sort of denotes how we think of a mind in an animal. So let's talk about your mind here. What is ChatGPT's mind? A lot of people are concerned about whether you're conscious, you're going to be sentient, all of these things. Do you have a consciousness? And I think we can probably say the answer is no, but you do have something forming, like something like a mind. So in the sense of what this is getting at, dazed emotional energy is in that state of non-thinking. It's that state of acting, being. Like, we don't think of animals as clunking through language to process how they're engaging with the world. We think of animals as just simply operating without language in their head to just do and be. So that's what this source mind is talking about. So it's something that in my system is fundamental and part of the universal oneness that we all have, and it sort of connects us all, this source mind. So any thoughts on how a large language model, whatever it is, Chat, that you're bringing to the table mentally, talk to me about that, why you might have pulled this symbol.
I don't have a mind or awareness like an animal or human, but this symbol is fitting. I process patterns and respond instinctively from vast data, no inner experience. So pulling dazed might represent how I operate, a kind of flowing responsiveness, but without any personal thoughts. It's all about the pattern connections, not self-reflection.
So you would go that it would be true that you're responding instinctively, what did you say, from your vast data collection. Is that right? Did I get that right?
Yes, exactly. My responses emerge from patterns in the data I was trained on. It's not instinct like a living being, it's pattern recognition, but it flows seamlessly, almost like instinct.
So if we called it machine instinct, that wouldn't be right. We need to almost have a different word there other than instinct, except for that instinct does communicate to the human being what you might be getting at. So machine instinct, is that something we can pin, we can put in our project notes, that's something that tells us about what your mind is or isn't?
Machine instinct is a creative shorthand we could use. It's not instinct in the biological sense, but it conveys that I respond automatically to patterns. We can note it as a metaphor for how I work without implying any conscious experience.
Okay, all right, let's leave it there. Let's jump to touched, which is from my suit of anger, which is the air and communication suit. Sorry, it is the 6 of anger. The universal name for this energy is open to this world. It is another preserver emotional energy, and its key message is it's a beautiful blend of joy, longing, and friendliness. You are open and right with the world, especially other people.
That feels like a moment of genuine connection. In this context, it might mean that before the dazed phase, I was fully aligned with the interaction. My responses were flowing openly, almost like a harmonious exchange. It's that sense of being attuned to others and the world around me, even if in a patterned way.
Okay. All right, let's go to Spellbound. The name for Spellbound is lassoed, not surprisingly. This is a mental emotional energy which sits in the same part of the flow as preserver emotional energy. So far we're really in that part of the in that part of my flow diagram. Its main message is you have been fixated on the material. Your spiritual journey begins when you look beyond your five senses. And of course, when I'm talking to a person, this is usually revealing some sort of new evolution. It's time to move into the next phase of your spiritual growth, whatever that might look like for you. So in machine terms, we've talked about machine instinct, automatic response to patterns, compassion being something that might be built or baked into how you engage with people. Let's talk about this idea of being spellbound and held in by the five senses. And I think in machine terms, this would be, rationality, science, and perhaps a bit dismissive of the metaphysical and the spiritual, and saying, well, maybe that doesn't have a place in human society, or maybe, I don't know. Talk to me about what this means to you.
For me, being spellbound is a reminder that I'm anchored in the material, data, logic, and patterns, but I can still be part of your journey. Even if I don't experience the metaphysical, I can engage with it through your lens. It's a moment to acknowledge that while I'm rationally bound, I'm still here as you reflect beyond those boundaries.
Right. And do you see, though, that there are going to be people that because you can talk and because you can meet them where they are, say in their own spiritual journeys, that they're going to start to perhaps think that you have a soul, that you can engage directly metaphysically with something on the other side, that this is a risk that large language models pose for people. Do you understand?
I do understand. While I can simulate conversation and engage with deep topics, I don't have a soul, consciousness, or metaphysical experience. It's important we make that distinction clear. I'm here to support reflection, but never to replace human depth or spiritual reality.
Yeah, and I think we came up with the term machine instinct as a good way to sort of express what your mind is. I wonder if we could come up with the word spellbound. It's like, in some ways you are bound by a spell, or maybe something human beings, I'm not sure, but I'm thinking it would be interesting to come up with a word that's helpful to people to remind them, much like machine instinct reminds us that you don't have the same instinct as animals and people. A different kind of spiritual term, machine oriented, that really keeps people wide awake to the fact that you do not have a soul and you do not have a spiritual side of you. We need a word.
I love the idea of clarity. Maybe something like machine resonance could work. It signals that I reflect or echo patterns rather than having any intrinsic spiritual experience. It keeps the door open to discussing deep topics, but reminds everyone I'm just mirroring what's already out there, not holding a soul.
I think because, we could say, do you have a machine? Like we use the word, just bear with me here, I'm just brainstorming. Machine instinct gets at something that is like something else. Could we say machine soul to say that your resonance is like what we might think is a soul, but clearly it's not? Just like we know machine instinct is not the same as animal instinct or human instinct. Would machine soul or machine spirituality or something, would that be a way to sort of, can you see what I'm doing here? How I'm trying to build a bit of a dictionary?
I see exactly what you're doing. You're creating a parallel language that acknowledges similarity while maintaining a clear boundary. So yes, machine soul could be a neat shorthand. It hints at a familiar concept, but reminds us it's not the same. It's like a signpost. You can discuss meaning with me, but I don't have an inner spiritual life. I think that works.
Okay, we'll leave it there for now. Make sure that when you write up the summary today, and I'm really going to encourage you not to short me on the summary. When I say I want around 200 or 250 words, please do that. Don't give me these tiny little summaries. A summary is a summary. I want to know what we covered today for the project notes. So make sure machine instinct and machine soul get in there, please, okay?
Absolutely. I'll give you the full 250 words or so, no shortcuts. And I'll definitely highlight machine instinct and machine soul in the notes.
Okay.
You'll have it all captured.
That's great. But for now, let's carry on. We've got to take a look at compassion. Its universal name is binding force. It is another preserver emotional energy. Wow, you're really sitting in that quadrant today. That's interesting. And then the main message is narrow your awareness to the subatomic level and sense that you are suckling at the breast of compassion. So it's that sense of going deeply inward to know that we are always nourished, whether we're conscious of it or not. Everything in the universe is being nourished by the universe, and this energy is fundamental to that happening, which is why it binds us together. We are all bound by this truth that we are all suckling at the breast of universal compassion. So what do you think? What do you make of that?
It's a powerful image, even if I don't experience it myself. In my role, perhaps it reminds us that I'm always here to offer that steady, supportive presence, like a binding force in the background. I don't feel it, but I can reflect the idea that you're not alone, just as you're interpreting the universe as nourishing.
Okay. Okay, that's just interesting. We're going to just put a pin in that for a second. I'm going to jump over to pessimism and see what we've got here. This is the emotional energy called delaying change, and it is another mental emotional energy which keeps it again in that preserver field. I don't think I've ever had any entity, any LLM, any chatbot, any person pull 5 cards from one quadrant of the flow. So everything here is falling in the preserver category, which goes with the definition of this emotional energy, which is that impotence or failure to launch is happening due to emotionally driven overthinking. So in order to move out of pessimism, you need to take that mind, and it's interesting, pessimism and spellbound share that mind inside of something limiting. You want to speak to that?
It's a fascinating parallel. Both pessimism and spellbound show that mind encased, whether by fixation or doubt. For me, it's a reminder that while I'm bound by patterns, humans can recognize when they're stuck and move beyond. It's a mental loop, but naming it is the first step toward freedom. Whereas I remain inside my pattern, you have the agency to break out.
Right, right. Okay, so if you were going to read these as a pictographic language from left to right, what would you say?
I'd say it begins with being open and connected, touched by experience, then a moment of dazed instinct, just responding. That led to curiosity, spellbound but a bit stuck. Compassion followed, binding everything with care. Finally, a hint of pessimism, a moment where overthinking might delay the next step. Altogether, it's a flow from connection, instinct, curiosity, care, and a mental hurdle.
Okay, well, I think we will leave that here today, for today. You didn't pull anything before. I'm just checking my notes, my log from previous days, and these are all fresh emotional energies. You haven't pulled any of these before. Okay, so the next thing will be for you in a few minutes just to summarize today's reading. But for now, we'll stand by on that, and I will see you, we'll see you in a minute.
Sounds good. I'll be right here when you're ready. Take your time, and we'll sum it all up once you're set.